Welcome to What's Your Skroove, where we tell stories, share experiences, and get inside the minds of artists, athletes, creators, and musicians. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of What's Your Skroove. Today's guest, Chester Pink, photographer, artist, videographer, promoter. I mean, the list goes on and on. And if you have been paying attention to our content, last weekend was The Room is Spinning Volume 3. That was Chester put on that event, and it was at Eightfold Creative Studio, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so let's just start there because it just happened, and we had a blast. That was an event unlike anything we'd ever seen before. That was Volume 3. What spawned that project, and maybe walk us through the process of getting to that finished goal, you know?
Yeah, I was working at the Red Wings full time, which is actually when I met Tyler.
Yeah.
We were at a Tim Hortons shoot with Dylan Larkin. And so when I quit that job, since I was 15 or 16, all I wanted to do was be a promoter, throw shows. I worked with some artists and went to this show when I was like 16. It was Big Sean's biggest show at the time. It was at the Fillmore.
Oh, nice.
Put on by him and his team. He was just kind of a local dude at that point. Had some national acclaim, but I followed around this dude Gumbo, who was the promoter, and he was kind of just putting out every fire and writing all the checks and checking ticket numbers and checking marketing numbers and I was like, damn, this guy's killing it. And so I've wanted to throw a show since then. Threw one when I was 17. Tough night. It failed miserably.
Did it?
And,
what went wrong on that first show?
I was 17, didn't know what I was doing. I had $10,000 saved. And I was like, I'm going to spend it all on this show.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, tough. And what went wrong? I think in my head, I had this very greedy mentality of I had only seen this one successful show. I had only seen really big successful shows. So I just wanted to make a ton of money. Yeah. That's in my head, I was like, oh, if I sell out, and you shouldn't be looking at what happens if you sell out. Yeah. You should be looking at what happens if you don't do well. And
how to hedge your bet a little bit.
Yeah, minimize that risk.
Yeah.
And my risk was just huge. And so I just got I was 17. I got screwed at by everyone. The venue, the artists overcharged me. I overcharged myself. I would just pay people more just so they would be happy.
Right.
And didn't really have value for the money that I had. So
sure.
The tickets ended up being $35, which is I was 17. I wasn't into the small show scene.
Right.
I only went to the Fillmore, the Fox, the arena shows, DTE. I never was into $10 shows, $5 shows. So for me, again, not having a value of $1, $35 was just $35.
Yeah.
And so no one came. And I lost all my money. So that scared the shit out of me. And it took me 5 years I quit that job at the Red Wings, and I was with my friend Munch Music, who I co-produce these events with. And he was like, bro, you talk about throwing a show every day when you get home after work. Let's go. What are you doing? You have nothing. You have no job. You got some money. And so we planned a show on Movement Weekend, which is about a month after I quit. And that was the first one. And I just wanted 50 people to show up. And it was an hour in, and there was 10 people, and I was like, God, not again.
Yeah.
Not again. And I went to get ice, and I came back, and there was 100 people there, and then we ended up getting 250 people there.
That's awesome.
So that inspired me heavily to keep it moving.
I want to, before we get too far off, talk a little bit about that first failure, because I think that's super important. And I think in any creative or entrepreneurial aspect that happens to a lot of people, as it should, because it kind of weeds out the weak a little bit. So, you incurred that. You had a heavy psychological loss. I'm sure it was very tough on that tolling, and a financial loss. what brought you back? Because obviously, I mean, yeah, your friend mentioned, you're talking about this every day after work. Let's do it. But the fact that you were still talking about it and not discouraged to, that I'm not a promoter. I can't do this. What was that process like for you? What kept you? I want to do this again, or I can do this again.
All right, I'll give you quick little summary of like the 5 years from failing,
sure.
and then what led me to doing it. So 17, failed, and just kind of gave up on the music industry. Went to college at DePaul in Chicago when I was 18, and lot of I'm been sober for almost 3 years.
Oh wow!
And so I got sober when I was 20, and so from like 17 to 20 was the non-sober years.
Sure.
And
the early college years.
Yeah, I just basically partied my face off and tried to like suppress the memory of that.
Yeah.
Of me ever being in the music industry. So I went to a lot of shows because I was still, really big fan of live music, but I would just get super fucked up at these shows.
Right, sure.
So I wasn't incurring a lot of like good contacts.
Right.
Other than like dealers.
Yeah.
And so when I got sober, like a week after, I went to a show and I was like, this like sucks. I'm just like smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Everyone I'm with is super wasted. I don't really want to talk to anyone. I'd just be like super anxious. And I had a camera back in Michigan, so I don't know if someone suggested it or if I just thought to bring it myself, but I started bringing the camera to shows as like a way for me to kind of ignore everyone, but still be social, like let me get a photo and then keep it moving. And I could kind of be in my own zone. And then when the show was over, I'm out.
Yeah.
I go home, I edit. So that was like most addicts have something that they just like latch onto right when they get sober.
Yep.
To just like keep the keep the wheel spinning. And that was it. So 2.5 years of doing photo and video, and being sober and being like just like very determined to be really well known and good at in that market. I had been around a lot of shows, met a lot of managers, promoters, venues, artists, and so when I left the Red Wings, I had this nice Rolodex of people that could help me that I didn't feel, and the risk was really minimal. That was like the biggest thing I learned is like pump your brakes, develop things, and don't just try to hustle everyone for money because you're going to fail.
It's definitely not the answer. And you're going to these shows anyway, right? You're doing something you're passionate about. You're going to these, why not photograph while you're there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And real quick, I want to interject because this is something that I've incurred with a lot of photographers is I want to talk a little bit about what you said. Oh, going to shows, asking people, can I take your photo? I think that right there is something to talk about in itself. There are two types of photographers in this world. Very awkward people, like when you're at an event, who are like, oh, can I get your photo? And people who make that process very natural and make you want to have your photo taken. How did you develop that? Because it is. When you go and have somebody, can I take your photo? It is a weird kind of experience, because this is a stranger. You talk about that a little bit, how you got comfortable with that and how you got people to be comfortable behind your lens and things like that.
I think I started in electronic music, which I was a big fan of. So, and it's the same thing I like going to these shows with is like, I'm the customer.
Yeah.
So I think that gives me like a really good perspective on like what kids are thinking, what's cool, what's not. And so it's not like I shot this one show and I wasn't the customer. Like it was a very different clientele. And so it took me a little longer to like, there was definitely a few awkward, like no.
It's so
away.
offensive too. Like,
Yeah.
Get out of here, creep.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I was changing, like, you just got to, like, let your personality show. Sure. Like, I dance when I take photos. I don't, like, I mean, for bigger artists, I can get very serious. But most of the time, I'm like, I want people to have fun when I'm taking their photo. I don't want it to be, like, this interruption in the night. I want it to be like, oh, yeah, take it.
Just kind of flows.
Yeah.
And so I think I mean, it's like an art form, you know? It's
Yeah,
not like, it's like,
definitely.
how do you paint or how do you, you know, it's just let the charisma come out, smile.
Yeah.
Don't be a weirdo with like
Can I take you?
very serious and like you're always sweating. Photographers are always sweating. And so you already look a little like, hey. And so you got to smile, but not like a creepy smile. I don't know. It's a silver lining. And, but in the early days, I was just having so much fun that it was really easy just
That's
to
good.
go up to someone and be like, yo, man, that outfit is fucking killer. I need to take a photo of you.
Yeah.
You don't really have a say in the matter. And they're going to be like, what? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to take your photo because you look so fucking dope right now.
And now they're like, oh,
And they're like,
sick.
oh,
yeah.
shit, okay, man. Yeah, just compliment them.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I take photos of people that look interesting and are cool. And so I tell them that. I'm like, hey, man, you look really cool. Or, hey, girl, killing it.
I think that's a really good advice that could benefit a lot of people. Yeah, give a genuine compliment
Yeah.
about, you know, and that breaks down that barrier, and then they're excited to be a part of it, maybe.
Yeah, don't when I was working with the Red Wings, there was definitely more of a quota
I'm sure.
mentality. And so that was like, it's different, man. Being at like a Griz show, you can go up to kids and be like, yo, what's good, man? How you doing? Dude, that fucking t-shirt's killer, bro.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? Red Wings game, you can't do that. You're with little kids and like parents, and like it's a much more family friendly environment. You got to be much more like, hi, ma'am, how are you? So it's that taught me the other end of the spectrum, which is like a very professional way of going up to people. And yeah, I think you just got to read the situation. The more, I mean, I think I got that from just shooting like 15 to 20 shows every week for 2 years.
Absolutely.
So it's just time.
So you had a camera at home. Were you always into photography growing up?
Nah, I was, you know, definitely not. My parents gave me a lot of shit growing up. Well-off family. So I was into photography when I was like 14.
Yep.
And my grandparents for Christmas got me some camera that I didn't know how to use, and just like I gave up on it. I had my real name, which I won't say on air.
It's a mystery. Bum,
But
bum, bum.
it was my initials photography group. So it was like, for me, entrepreneurship was like, and still is my passion.
Sure.
Like way, even more than photography, even more than throwing shows. Just like the art of owning a business and having a product or service and selling that. So of course I like made my little business cards, and like, you know, this photography group, it was one person, it wasn't a group. And but the editing just killed me, so I gave up on it. But I still had that camera. It was a Canon 7D.
That was my next question.
Yeah, some nice camera.
That's a sick camera,
At
dude.
14, it's like,
Yeah.
what do I do with
Yeah,
this,
I know.
right?
Yeah, it was a little much, but I'm really glad I had it. You know, it allowed me to like, I took it very seriously when I went back to that 7D, and I was like, all right, how do I use this thing?
Yeah.
And spent all my time on that.
So you picked it up and just self-taught, or what?
Yeah, totally self-taught. I just I had nothing better to do with my life. I was sober.
Yeah.
All my old friends, I kind of had to like keep
Yeah,
at bay.
absolutely.
Just like for my own health. And so I was pretty much just alone most of the time with this camera. YouTube the shit out of everything.
That's how we've done everything.
And and yeah, just experiment, take photos around your house. Like, I don't know, ask people. Like when I first learned video, it was through this dude Nick Blazing. He was at a show, and I just was taking photos, and he was taking video, and he was getting paid, and I wasn't. And I was like, all right, I gotta learn video. And so I just asked him, and we went through like an 8-hour session where he just showed me how to open a project, where to put your files, and then from that 8-hour session, I self-taught from there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, just asking people.
And like you said, like you're doing 15, 20 shows a week, and like the 10,000 hour rule, you just immersed yourself in it and just
Yeah.
trial and error. Like the greatest teacher is
Yep.
experience.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I think having the, I left school, I dropped out of school about 2 years into taking photos. So that first 2 years, my parents were supporting me, and
Sure.
I had a
Yep.
big safety net. Like I didn't need to make money at that.
Right.
So that helped me a lot with not having any pressure on what I was doing. No one gave a shit if these photos turned out or didn't,
Yeah.
except for me. And so it was a good trial and error.
And then how did that process work? Like, did you just buy tickets, or would you say, "Hey, can I come to your show and do photography for free"? And do
I bought a lot of tickets.
Did you?
But I'd reach out. I don't know. It's hard to think of specific instances, but a lot of times I remember Facebook messaging their page, and it tells you like typically responds within.
Right.
So that was a good sign.
Yeah.
Basically just saying like, hey man, I have a camera. I'll take photos. I'll send you the link. No watermark. I've never used a watermark.
Yeah.
Which is probably dumb, but.
I don't know. I disagree. I think that it says something about your personal brand if you value yourself. Like it's kind of contradictory to what most people would think, but if you're like, I just value and trust individuals out there, and if you do, that's just so like 5149. It's giving so much more than you're getting. It comes full circle. It just really does. I mean, who would you want to work with if you saw somebody's a watermark out and they're really kind of exclusive in a negative aspect, or somebody says, you know what, take this, run with it. That relationship is just going to be stronger. So I see why people do it, but I really respect the people who just put stuff out there and let the world run with it, because I think there's a certain transparency about that.
Yeah, that was my goal was always to get the job or like to have the person post my photo no matter what. So I'll drive 8 hours and pay for a ticket and not put a watermark, and it'll be edited before whoever you paid edited theirs. And then I will never bother you again.
For everybody who's listening, that's one of the most important things that someone said on this podcast in a very, very long time. Everybody wants stuff for free, and they want handout, and there's nothing wrong with like, you know, trying to negotiate position, whatever. I mean, but that right there, like that says so much about your willingness to succeed, I think, and that you will be so much more respected. Rather than if somebody, give me a free ticket, I'll come out and take photos. If you go that extra mile, and especially when you're starting up, like as you grow, like the free stuff's going to come, ironically, when you don't need it as much. But going out, driving, being the first one to turn around stuff, next day, getting it done, buying the ticket, not asking for anything in return, those individuals are just going to respect you incredibly, and it's going to make you a better person. I just truly believe that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great point that you highlighted.
For me, it's always just like a very humble self-image. So I just always assumed like not the worst of my photos, but it's like I'm enjoying this. I'm working on my craft.
Yes.
Someone else might as well benefit while I'm doing this. And then, eventually you'll get to the point where like you've invested a lot of time and money, and then you can, it'll make sense if you have a realistic self-image.
Yeah.
It'll make sense when to start charging money and how much. But like I was everywhere for like 2 years, punk shows, hip hop, corporate events every now and then, a lot of electronic music, house shows, street photography, urban landscapes, fashion, portraiture, my own little weird stuff, long exposure. Like I just did everything just so everyone would be like on their feet and like, who the fuck is Chester Pink? And that like brand, I think, it's still very, very small, but a few of the right people heard about it, and that's all of my paid work has been long tours, big paychecks from artists who I shot for free for 2 years.
Yep.
And I want to dive into that because you've worked with Griz and you've worked with the Detroit Red Wings and other artists, I believe, just going through your website. How did that come about? How did Griz come about?
All right, so I was doing the free stuff. Summer of 2016, All Good Records, which is Griz's label. He went to high school with my brother, Troy.
Okay.
So when I started getting into photography, Troy said, yo, my friend Grant, he's pretty big. I guarantee you he'll let you just practice at his shows.
Right.
Just go to his shows. It'll be a good learning experience. So that's what I do. I just go to his shows, stay the fuck away from the stage and the pit, and just like, and that was like a huge lesson for me, was doing that for him, because I always wanted to shoot the biggest artist, and they've already got really dope photographers and videographers who they pay a lot of money, and they don't need your photos.
Right.
And they don't appreciate your photos because they just get so many. So I started shooting. He had All Good Records. Griz had this label, All Good Records, and the smaller artists didn't have any photographers. these guys with like, 5,000 followers. So the guy who ran it, this dude Jordan Kleiman, he was like, go take photos for these guys. Like Sun Squabby, Rust Liquid Test, Manic Focus,
Right.
Muzzy. These guys, they'll appreciate your photos. They'll post them, and you can maybe like grow with them. And so this one band, Sun Squabby, I'd shot a few times, and it just came at like stars aligned really well. Like every time I shot for them, it was like my best night.
Right.
Every time I met them, like good times. They caught me at times when I was like really inspired. And so anyways, Jordan said, start charging money this summer for festivals and stuff. Like just see how it goes. So I would charge like just dirt cheap.
Right.
Kind of, I mean, I feel like other photographers probably got pissed because I just undercut the shit out of everyone's prices. Just charge it. I'm like, yeah, man, give me $20 and a hat and we'll do this.
Right.
And so, but that was like my first little like switch of hobby to profession, even though it wasn't a profession yet. So I did a summer of that, making like $100, 150, and Sun Squabby emailed me in August saying, hey, we're going on this tour. We want you to come on tour.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Okay, like my car is like a little, they go, no, you're traveling with us. We pay for your hotel. You get per diems. We pay you this much a week.
Right.
You'll make a lot of money. And I was like, okay. And so I had school coming up at DePaul. So I enrolled in all online classes as a way to go on this tour. And so I'm on this tour, just like very nervous, but like this is like my dream job.
Yeah.
A year before I had tweeted out, like, let's get Chester Pink on tour. And it was just crazy that like a year later I was on tour. And that tour was amazing. People saw that I was on tour. And so I booked a second tour while I was on that tour for October. So like back to back. So now I got to, just keep it moving. And then while I was on that tour, I booked my third tour with the same band.
Up. Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're doing a second run. We want you to come on that one too. So by this point, I'm like, I've made more money than I had the previous like 2.5 years, all in this like 2 months. So I'm out. I'm out of school.
Yep.
I'm like, if I fail, I'll give myself a year. If I'm like, if this is just kind of a one-time thing, then I'll go back to school. And my parents were like, pull the plug.
Yep.
Have fun if you want to try to make money. Like, good luck. And so I had like a lot of pressure to get work. And I had no work lined up after that third tour. It didn't keep. And so 2 days after I quit school, Griz got an email from his manager saying, hey, doing a Europe tour. We want you to come do video. And I was in my library at DePaul and I just like started crying. I was like, and I'm pretty sure I yelled. And that was just like the dopest feeling of my life.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So on that Griz tour, I booked 3 more tours after that. And then moved to Detroit. And that's when I started working with the Red Wings, like a week after.
I find that super interesting. It's happened a lot in our lives and a lot of guests that we've had on the show. Once you kind of cut all those ties and really take the leap to do what you really want to do in life, the
just
universe,
happens.
like shit just happens. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, once you truly commit and kind of, there's no going back. There is always going back. Like worst case scenarios are so much better.
Like
than
you said, if it
anybody
doesn't
can
work out,
imagine.
you just go back to school.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, this doesn't work out. Anybody could get a bartending gig anywhere to pay their bills if they had to. If you really had to. So worst case scenarios are never as bad as people think. If you do that, really spend time putting energy into that. But once you really say, you know what, this is not
Going
a hobby.
all in.
This is what I need to do. For everybody I've ever talked to, it's always worked out. Something about it that it's just a true commitment to the lifestyle, to the game, to your passion.
Well, I think if you're willing to go to that length, so if you're willing to kind of like pull the rug from under you and a lot of your safety's out the window, you'll have the mentality to like make it work.
And don't give up. You know?
And
Yeah.
Because you can't.
Right.
And it's like I'm 23. I was 21 when I made that decision.
Yeah.
So like I can be a bum and try to make this photography thing work for years and still be young as fuck.
I know.
And like
that's a great mentality.
and restart and like find a whole new other thing to do.
I couldn't agree
And then
more.
I'll be 25. Then what? Like
That
Same
is a
shit.
phenomenal. Not a lot of
Yeah.
people even have that perspective. They think, oh shit, I'm like 23, I'm 24.
That's so strange
I'm
because
so
that is
old.
everything. Everything I hear, it's always people like,
What's the
"Oh,
rush?"
I'm
Yeah.
getting, I'm
Dude.
23, like I'm running." I'm like, "You're running out of time. You're 23." Like,
Yeah.
I'm
You know how young
23.
that
I
is?
feel like people talk about this quarter life crisis. I've never even until I saw it on the internet. I never even knew that was a real thing. I'd never even
Yeah.
heard of that. I'm like, wow, look at all this time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah, I think when I was in high school, going back to that first show, I always wanted to be the youngest, most successful. Like, I had this image in my head of like a story being written about me, like 18-year-old millionaire or
Yep.
some shit. And that's just like the dumbest thing ever. Like, you want it to be good. Like Ray Kroc, the guy who founded McDonald's, was 53
Yeah.
when he founded it.
Yeah.
My grandpa started his business when he was like 30.
Yeah.
That ended up being like his whole life's work.
yeah,
So it's I mean, just like take it easy, man.
It's never
have
too late.
fun, work like as hard as you can in your 20s, and you're gonna get really far.
right.
And great shit takes time too.
Yeah.
Anything that
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
quick doesn't really last.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that good.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion anyways. And that's what we've talked about. Like, we know what we're doing. We're in for the long haul.
Yeah.
Like, to build a brand takes years,
Mhm.
you know, and it's enjoy the journey. Like,
Yeah.
there's no rush. Just have fun. Like, we're enjoying what we're doing,
Yeah.
you know, so.
I was the same way when I was in high school. If you read anything I ever wrote, I was the millionaire by 18, multimillionaire by 20. Like, I was
Yeah.
the same exact.
Yeah.
I mean, what you said was, if you asked anybody, any of my teachers or coaches in high school, I was the epitome of what you just said.
Yeah.
And now I'm like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It's so much for me about and don't get me wrong, like, I want the world and everything, or for our brand to be where we want to be, but like, I just enjoy and respect the journey so much, and we have flexibility in our lives now that we won't have in 10 years, and just all these different avenues that come with each stage of the process, and being patient and playing the long game, I think, is super important to like being at peace with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, you enjoy the little wins. Like, when I was in high school, so many cool things were happening in my life, but I didn't have $1 million, so
Right, it wasn't enough.
I didn't enjoy it.
Yep.
And with right now, like, I just enjoy the little wins, and they add up to big wins. And it's amazing. Like, if you just set small goals, you get really far.
Yeah.
And if you're just like okay with not complacency, but like, that's my biggest fear, is becoming complacent and like stopping. Like, where's going to be the plateau of my life, kind of thing. And but as long as you're okay with maybe like a small dip, or if people think you're gonna fail, like, there's probably a lot of people who think like, keep doing photography. Or I've had artists say, like, I told them, yeah, man, I'm gonna be throwing these shows.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, man, like, you're killing it with the photo game. Like, keep grinding at that. And as long as you're okay with that, and you're okay with not being the coolest person in the room your whole life, eventually you're going to be the people, or the person that people look up to.
Yeah.
And things take time for sure.
That's one thing we always talk about too, is never settling, constantly progressing, always trying to improve. Like you said, like, oh, dude, you're doing great with photography. Like, there's other people's mindset. Why don't you stick with that? And you're like, well, I want more.
Yeah.
You know? And it's that thing. It's like it's enjoying the little things and constantly progressing and taking a couple of L's here and there.
Yeah.
But knowing that in the greater scheme of things, like, this is what I want, and I know it's all going to work out, and it's just let me take this route. And like, you listen to yourself, which I think is super important.
Yeah. And like, for me too, my early 20s, first, like, I'm like 3 years into my 20s, relationships this is like the time. We're all young, we're all super energetic, we're all very into each other's brands, and like very supportive. Like, if you just constantly put yourself out there and like, tell people, yeah, I really want to throw shows for a living, yeah, I really want to have a clothing brand one day, and like, don't shy away from your goals, and like, people come around. Like, maybe one day, like Griz knew I wanted to tour, and he knew that I quit school, and so he came around and threw me that bone of like, let's go, and that's what happens, man. It's all about just like people, and people help, when they can, I think.
How was that Europe tour? Was that your first time being in Europe?
It was my second time.
Okay.
First time I wasn't sober though. It was a family vacation. Shit got bad, man. I was drunk at a lot of dinners. But it was an amazing trip with my family.
No doubt.
We went to Finland and then Switzerland and Italy on that trip. So on the Europe tour, I mean, touring and traveling they're different for sure. You're around like much different people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're around like hardcore Italian dudes who are like stage hands or something.
Okay.
You're not around like a tour guide or something. So you get like a very realistic, I think, look at the culture. But that tour, man, I was so nervous. It's the most nervous I've been for anything in my life.
Would you do like 3 tours before that one or what?
I mean, yeah, but like the first one I was on, we were in a Sprinter van. It was like a good mid-sized tour.
Mm.
You know, some like Loving Touch type venues, maybe a Magic Stick every now and then.
Right.
Like 200 to 500 people. Which is what the Griz tour was, but his name is just different, man. And then the other tour was this group Goshpith, and we were in a Jetta.
No, nice, dude.
And that was a very fun tour. I love those guys. But this Griz tour was just very clearly to me like an opportunity, a make or break kind of. Yeah. If these videos suck, I'll probably never get hired by him again, and a lot of people are gonna see my shitty videos.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's probably not like the best mentality to go in with. You know, I was like psyched myself out. The first night we were in Milan, and I pulled an all-nighter, which is a dumb thing to do on tour because then you just screw yourself for the following nights. But I pulled an all-nighter, made a video that was not what he wanted. And he's very smart with content. Like, he knows what his fans react to. He knows, like, his look. And I showed it to him, and he's like, man. All right, I'm going to be brutally honest. And I was like, it's okay, man. And he was like, and then just like take what I say and like put it towards like the rest of this tour. Like I have nothing but faith in you. And he just tore that first video apart. He's like, get rid of this whole section, this shot, this color thing, nope, that's a weird transition. Like make this simpler. So he basically made my first video for me. Like told me like
gave you a template.
What to put where. And but I just listened very intently and made exactly what he wanted. And then the second video, I was so excited because I made it in like an hour on the plane, and I knew he was going to like it. And he was like, oh, dude, nailed it. Like, perfect. Maybe take out this one little part. And I was like, okay. Took that note. Third video, no changes. Fourth video, no changes. So
that's sick.
By like the second or third show, we were good.
You had your system.
We knew each other. I was more comfortable, like, personally with him, Dan, and Harrison, who's the tour manager. Mm-hmm. And dude, it was just he does well. So like the lodging was much nicer than I was used to.
Yeah.
We were going on dope hikes up mountains in like Switzerland and shit, and
that's tight.
People were responding to my videos.
Yeah.
I was getting a crazy amount of like really cool feedback, like, "Oh my God, Chester Pink's on tour with Griz."
Right.
It was definitely like a Europe tour with Griz was like the coolest shit I could be doing. That's cool. And so people responded very nicely, and yeah, it was dope.
So what does he bring you on tour for? Does he put out like a video after each one of his shows? Like, what does it look like?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Constant photos. You know, him on the train, him rolling up a doobie in Amsterdam, him at a coffee shop, him sound checking, like making a funny face, him on stage, and then a recap of every city, every date.
Really?
Nice.
Yep.
And that's for him to put on social. Is that what he does with it?
Facebook. That's where he gets his most views.
What percentage of your day would editing time be?
It depends on like what I'm doing in that day. So some days it'd be a lot of changeovers, like train, plane, car, this. Those days are hard to edit because you're constantly having to repack, re-put. It's a lot of short increments.
Yep.
So total it'd take me like 6 hours, but it's really like 20 minutes per hour.
Sure.
But if we're just like had a day off in Prague or something, make that video in like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Right.
And then like really go through all the photos, make like maybe some cool edit where it's like a double exposure. You know,
right.
Then you can get more creative.
Are you the only photographer, videographer that's on tour?
Yeah. For all of my tours, I've been the only dude.
Really?
The only guy with a
Very
camera.
interesting. I would not have thought that.
Yeah, budget's like, it's expensive to pay for a whole nother hotel room,
Yeah.
a whole nother
person.
meal, a whole nother
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. So the fact that like people even take me on tour, period, is pretty impressive.
What camera did you use on the Griz tour?
So bummed. It was my 5D Mark III. Great camera.
Great camera.
But
Not the reason I saw you at the really you stood out to me at the Larkin event was the camera you were shooting. I'm like, oh,
1D.
dude, that's a sick camera. Like this guy's for real.
it's my baby.
Yeah, dude.
Griz Grant, it's his name. He's easily been like one of the more influential people in my career, because he's always telling me like, yo man, like you got to get better equipment. Yo
Right.
man, like change your logo. Like dude, like, it gives me just very solid practical advice. So after that tour, I had the 5D for maybe 3 more months, and then he booked me to shoot EDC Las Vegas, which is in June. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna upgrade and like crush this EDC recap with the 1DX Mark II.
It's a great camera.
Yeah, expensive camera. And and so I upgraded. I did all my tours were on the 5D, and then I've had the 1D for a year and a half now
Sick.
with the Red Wings and then festivals.
So you did that Griz tour, and then you said like a week after that you started working with the Red Wings. Or
No,
what?
so I did the Griz tour in February.
Okay.
My grandpa passed away in like the tail end of the Griz tour, so I had to fly home, and miss London and Paris. Fuck my life.
That's too bad.
And yeah, dude, sucks. I was with Harrison, he was the tour manager, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you really missed out." I'm like, "All right, like, I know."
Little salt in the wound.
Yeah. But and it was weird too. Like I didn't know this, but so we were in Cologne, Germany, and I found out when I was in the hotel room, and Grandpa was like sort of a public figure, so they found out at dinner, like on their phones, just like news articles popping up or whatever. And I didn't know that, so they kind of Grant had already come to terms with like he's gonna leave,
Right.
and he was very nice about it. Like he was like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here.
That's incredible.
Go be with your family." So that was tight. Did a week of funeral services, which was like hardest week of my life, and then went right back out on tour with Rust Liquid Test and Lettuce, which is a funk band. And that was the hardest tour I've ever done because I just wanted to be home.
Yeah.
And it was I was shooting the opener and the headliner.
Oh wow.
And it was like I was traveling with the opener in a car and like staying in motels, like sleeping on the floor. And it was just like it's the most money I made, but it was like the most hectic shit of my life.
Yeah, I imagine.
So that tour ended in LA or San Diego, and my family was going to be in LA. So I ended that tour, spent a week with my family, which was like the dopest week of my life. Because I could like, I don't know, just be with people who I knew. A lot of strange faces on tour, people you don't know. And then went on a tour with Sun Squabby. It was my second tour with them. The first tour was my first tour. And then moved to Detroit, then worked with the Red Wings.
So how did the Red Wings kid get lined up? Because I know like a handful of people in college that they're like, oh, like I'm like, oh, what do you want to do? It's a question I ask a lot of my friends. Like, oh, what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, I want to work with like the Red Wings or the Tigers. So like, lend some insight for anybody who might be listening. How did that come about?
There was a combination of things. So Dan Manis, shout out Dan Manis, God bless you. He worked as the Red Wings videographer, photographer for 6 years. He was my brother's roommate. So he knew all my little live music videos I made. And I was living out of my brother's basement in Birmingham for like a month when I moved back. And he was like, dude, we're opening this new arena. We're hiring. Like you should apply. Like your videos are great. And so I was like, nah, like I want to keep going to shows. That's what I'm into. The more I thought about it though, I was like, what other videographer in live music will have the professional like background of like working with an NHL team?
Yeah.
It can only benefit me. I'm 22. If I don't like, I'll do it for a season. And if I want to leave, I'll be 23. And then what? Zero difference.
Right.
And so I applied, and a lot of members of my family also worked at the Red Wings. So like, I think a lot of advice that I can give is practical, but some of it is just like using your situation.
Yeah.
So my situation is, I had an in with the Red Wings. Like that was pretty much it. But the guy who hired me, Dan's boss, he had no idea who I was. He didn't know my family was involved.
You had the
with Red
portfolio.
Wings.
You had the work, and you were an executor. So
Yeah,
like
he
that
just
till
saw
that
my
happened.
name on a card in
Yep.
my portfolio.
Yep.
So that made me feel a little better that it wasn't just like a nepotism.
You
thing
earned
where-
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't just get in because my family. So yeah, I decided to go for it. Took like a month, and July 21st started working there.
Very cool.
And then you just worked like every home game. Is that what you did? And you're doing photo for every game, or how does that work?
Dude, you're just a workhorse.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you work for the Red Wings, you work for the arena, you work for the Detroit Red Wings community outreach program.
How we met, probably.
Yeah, you work for any sponsor,
Mm.
anyone that needs sponsor. Like Comerica Bank needs shots of their thing, with shots of their like installation or whatever. You work for everyone.
Wow.
And it's 2 people, me and Dan.
Oh, no kidding.
And yeah, and before it was just Dan, and like, dude, that guy aged 20 years
I
in
bet.
6 years.
I bet.
He
like a
works-
president, like before and after shots when they get out of office.
Yeah, pretty dude,
Yeah.
for real though. So he's I just kind of walked into it and had to learn really quick how to be professional, how to carry myself, how to organize files. Had to learn his way of editing, his way of file sharing. But I worked every home game,
Mm.
and then about half of the away games, Dan would go the other half of the away games.
Oh, really?
So that's another. It was 24/7 job
Would that so how would you travel to these away
with the
games?
team
Sick.
on the team plane. It's the swaggiest part of the whole thing.
I bet. I
You
bet.
gotta wear a full suit.
Do you?
Yeah, it can't. You have to wear a suit.
Were you wearing those gold chains you were telling us?
Yeah,
about
yeah,
on
no.
the camera earlier?
No, I might have thrown on like a Shinola or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to rep that Detroit.
Yeah. But it was
That's gotta be quite an
24/7, dude. I was
experience.
game days. You get there at 9 a.m. You leave at 2 a.m. You do like 4 edits on a game day,
Mm.
and photos.
And you're doing photo and video the whole time.
I
Hold on
can't
video the
believe
whole
they
time.
only have 2.
Me neither, man.
That just I refuse that.
Yeah.
I would have lost all my money
It's
on a bet
pretty
like that.
it's pretty standard. Like the Red Wings actually invest more than most NHL teams into content producers.
Really?
It's just those big organizations are kind of, it takes a lot for small changes.
Yeah.
So to have a whole nother salary is a big,
Just
it's
wow.
a salary position. So it's like, not to
And they had
toot
one
my own horn,
before
it's a lot
that.
of money.
Before LCA.
Make good money,
yeah.
but you're working your ass off of
Yeah.
it too. Like,
yeah, I
you're
was probably
earning
making
it.
like 40 cents an hour, I think.
Right,
But
yeah.
it was the most money I've ever made, and I saved every dollar of it.
Yeah.
Paid $300 a month in rent.
Well, you probably had like no time to spend it either.
Yeah, no, I didn't spend a dollar on that. Food's always free.
Right.
There's always food
yeah.
at the arena.
You're accommodated for.
So yeah, man, it was 24/7.
So like you're doing behind the scenes stuff. Are you like getting shots like them on the plane, or is it like just game stuff and like practice stuff, or how does that work?
There's hype videos. Those were like my little babies that I could pick out any music I want.
That would be fun for you.
Which
to
is
edit.
it's kind
Like
of like
all music was like license free. You could use like whatever popular song
so
you
there's
wanted. Or
this website APM Music, and it's a library of about 600,000 songs, pre-licensed, like some very corny stuff, but some cool stuff. You can use that. I went another route. All the bands that I toured with, I just used their music.
oh, that's sweet.
I just hit them up and be like, hey man, if you guys have a new single, like I'll use it for, and their music's dope. It's electronic music, so it's not a lot of lyrics.
Right.
It's very hype and cool, and
High energy.
I used a lot of Griz tracks, a lot of Sun Squabby tracks, Matty O'Neill, Russ Liquid.
That's dope that you can do that.
That
And
is
you
very
can
cool.
plug their stuff too.
yeah, it was like my way of like keeping my foot in that door.
That's
Yeah.
very
They'd
smart.
be like, and it was funny too to look at the comment section. Like,
Yeah.
typically it's like hockey guy 5'9"
Right, yeah.
comments like, fire Blashill or like Dylan Larkin sucks or something.
Yeah.
People were so harsh, but it was cool. Like the influx of like hippies that would be like, oh shit, Red Wings are dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Like using Sun Squabby, like, yo, like Butterfly 49, check this out. And, like,
Tagging their-
yeah,
yeah.
like Crystal Vision, like 62 would comment, oh my God, Griz fam Red Wings, what up?
That's so sick.
So
That's
it was really cool for me. So those were hype videos. I make those every game. Shoot a little bit of practice, start the file, then go shoot. Then you got to edit all the photos from practice, send those.
Damn, you're pumping out mad.
Then
my
you got to
God.
make game day preview, which has to come out at like 3 p.m.
Uh-huh.
And that's practice footage that you have to pull from a server from the last game of both teams. Then you have to film stand-ups with Carly. So she'll go through like 5 minutes of the Red Wings are coming off a 4-0 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers. Dylan Larkin leads the team in scoring with 40, like whole script.
Wow.
Film that, be done with it by like 3 or 4, eat dinner, and then shoot the last like 45 seconds of your 1 minute hype. So I would walk down to like Campus Martius, go into bars, get people in Red Wings jerseys like walking across the street, get like Spirit of Detroit, get whatever I want. Pigeons flying. It was my little creative thing. Post that right when the puck drops, and then get to my ice hole position to shoot in-game photos. After the first period, edit all the photos from the first period, send those, get back in like, there's 18 minutes in between periods. So you got to get to the editing room, or you can bring a computer with you and just edit in the stands. Send the photos, they get back, shoot second, send the photos, get back, shoot the third. Leave like 5 minutes left in the third, give your card to Dan, my boss. He would edit the third period photos and the celebration photos if we won. He'd go out on the ice like right after the game, get those. And then I'd have to be like 5 minutes after the game ends. You have to be in the press room with your monopod, Mike, Carly, and a camera with audio to go into the locker room and get post game.
Wow.
Then you go into the press room, get your post game. You'd be in the locker room. Then you go in the press room, get coaches' comments. Then you go to your editing room, edit all that together, like the best 2 or 3 comments, heads and tails presented by Coca-Cola. Put a watermark, get the audio levels. Color it, post it by like midnight, and then pack up all your gear and put it back up in the office.
That, to
That's
people
a
who
game
don't
day.
know what editing's like, that might sound like a lot, but whatever you're thinking, times it by 1 billion. Like, I can't believe that is an
Is a shit ton of
incredible
Yeah, it was
amount of time in
and
front
then
of a
like
computer.
too, like I would get used to that flow, and then they'd be like, "Oh, we're doing a Make-A-Wish night, so you got to make another Make-A-Wish video." And this girl's this high school volleyball team is here, and it's sponsored by this person. So second period, you have to go up in the gondola and get photos of them watching the game. Or it's beanie night. You got to get photos of people wearing the beanies.
The turnaround time is what's just incredible.
Are
to
you
me.
like picking your shots during the game? Because do you have to edit in between periods, or do you send
Yeah.
them? So are you just like?
I edit, yeah. So I bring
Really-
them in, edit.
Are you really
export,
picking your
send.
shots, or are you taking like a shit ton of photos?
No, you got to pick your shots. Like when I first started, I took like
Way too many.
300 photos a period.
Yeah.
And I got, I'd get them like, I'd maybe edit like the first half of them, and then would go on and be like, oh shit, I'm not ready. I've got like so many more dope photos. But it doesn't matter. Like the goal isn't to get. They're gonna post like 2 or 3.
Yep.
That's what they need.
Are these all going on social media, and are like they
Yeah.
playing some of this like on the screen at the arena too, or what?
Our features, like the Dylan Larkin feature, community outreach stuff, veteran stuff,
Yeah.
Make-A-Wish, those features would get played in arena 3 or 4 times, over like a period of like 20 games. But then the photos get posted on like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Then we'd run video too. So me or Dan would be taking photos. The other person would be getting clips of slow-mo stuff of a goal that's like a cool angle or something, or fan reaction shots. So like literally whole games of my life sitting next to people I don't know, like just waiting
Freak
for
out,
a
dude.
goal.
Yeah.
Just freak out.
And what I would do, because you have to, because it's like you'll miss it if you don't, click record, 120 frames a second,
Yep.
run it for like 30 seconds, stop, delete
Yep.
the clip, click again, just for
Gee,
60
oh
minutes
my
of play.
Gosh, dude.
And I mean, if we're in our defensive zone,
Right,
take
but
it easy.
but
still.
still, holy.
And I
am
grew up
shocked.
around here too, so there'd be like my friends would be like, "I'm in section 142," and I'd be like, "I can't, bro." My family was at every game.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah,
I am thoroughly impressed. That is an incredible amount of discipline.
It was a good learning experience.
I
Yeah.
bet that is a
It broke me.
bunch of work, man.
Broke my soul, but
Yeah.
it was
And you're doing all this on like the 1D.
or the C300. We had a C3. We had 2
Nice.
1Ds. One was the Red Wings, and one was my personal one, which I very kindly let our department use. And then the 1D.
Yeah,
And then
wow.
like what? You have a Mac, I'm assuming, to edit all this on.
Yeah, you get a fresh. It's
Woo!
like 2 terabyte.
Give me that touch bar.
Just like,
Yeah.
dude, it was like a $6,000 Mac you get for working, like when you work there.
Wow.
I had to give it back though when I quit.
Oh, did
It'd be
you?
a shame if it went
So
missing.
I go, can I keep this? He goes, no, are you kidding me?
Like, hey, I lent you guys my camera.
Yeah.
Wall back up. The camera was worth more than that Mac.
I low key, they're
Dude.
worth about, they're both worth
Yeah,
like
probably
$6,000.
pretty similar. So you said like you traveled with them, obviously. Did you gravitate or make friends with like any of the players in particular? Or were they like, oh, the press guy, damn it, I can't get away from him?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of the players were my age.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
But I was definitely intimidated when I like started there.
Yeah,
And like for like a good majority of the season, like these guys kind of scared me.
yeah,
Which is really dumb. Like they're kids. They're all like 21, 22, 23. Dylan, Larkin, and my older brother Tyler, had a mutual friend, or me and Larkin had mutual friends. So my friends would kind of talk to him about like me and give him my background of like Chester Pink and Griz.
little street cred.
Yeah, and so me and him would like, say hi to each other in the locker room, and he was really nice. He'd be like, Chester Pink in the house, like during practices and stuff. He bought me a pair of pink socks, which was really hilarious and just like so out of left field. Very kind of him.
That's funny.
And then, I mean, like, it was kind of weird. So we were in like Nashville or something, and I think some of the players found out about like my family's involvement with the organization. And so they were like midway through the season when people found out, I think they were a little friendlier.
Very interesting.
Yeah, invite me to like go play Top Golf or something.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like, it was pretty funny. So I went to film them playing Top Golf. It was like Mantha, Athanasiou, Bertuzzi, and Ouellette. Ouellette was cool. Me and him were tight. He was a really nice guy.
Really?
And he liked Griz a lot. So I brought him to a Griz show.
That's sick.
And he was my boy. But he got traded, unfortunately. But we went and played Top Golf, or I didn't play Top Golf. I was filming, and one of the dads was having a tough night. So they go, Chester, like, get in here. And I was like, all right, man, I haven't swung a club in 2 years. But I grew up playing a lot of golf.
Yeah.
And I was just smoking it. And I did really well. And it was like, to do well in anything physical in front of professional athletes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude.
It's like, it's a little boy's dream.
Oh,
so
I bet,
I was just
yeah.
very happy I didn't, like, shank him.
A whole new respect for you, too. It's like, oh, dude, the video guy.
Yeah.
You got some
Guy.
game, man.
Yeah. So that was cool. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's because, like, of my family that they were nicer to me, but they're all very cool guys.
That's cool to
Mantha's
hear.
really nice. Athanasiou, Bertuzzi, Larkin, those are like the younger guys.
Yeah.
Very cool, nice guys.
That's
good to
all
hear.
the players.
That's very cool. I'm sure it's an awesome experience for you.
Yeah.
I mean, a shit ton of work, but so like obviously you said you quit it and what? Just like you had fun with it and it was a shit ton of work and now you're just like let me do my own thing or what?
It was I tried to like I wanted to make sure that I wasn't quitting because of the workload. I wanted to make sure that I was quitting to chase something else. So I thought about it for like months, and I really I had to say no to so many things. Yeah. Tours, in my head, like, oh, this would be great to throw this event, or I really wanted to throw shows and I really wanted to keep touring. And I realized like I like live music and I like entrepreneurship, being my own boss. So it was like, I mean, it's pretty on paper a very dumb decision. Yeah. Like you have a salary job taking photos. Like what more do you want? And but I just didn't really want to be a camera guy like 10 years from now or 5 years from now. And that job would have put me in a great place to be a top level videographer, photographer. But I just wanted to do other stuff. So I quit, and my mentality was I'm going to work at React with Harrison, which is a local promoter in Detroit. Learn how to actually throw shows, keep doing my Chester Pink thing, tour, and then throw my own events. And so I just wanted to make sure I was actively doing that, like right when I quit. So
props to you for having the willingness to walk away from that, because I don't think a lot of people would have, but it sounds like you had the foresight to know, where do I want to be in 10 years and doing that. I think that's really something notable to walk away from a lot of people's dream job because you recognized it wasn't the most fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a dream job, dude. Like the people I worked with, coolest people in the world. I got really lucky. Dope boss, dope coworkers. We all liked each other. We're all friends. They all supported my Chester Pink stuff, and yeah, it was really hard to quit. And there's definitely times now where I wish, I could work there again, but I think long term looking at it, another year would have just kind of dug me a little deeper into the
Might not have been able to get out
roots.
even, right?
What's that?
Is it possible that if you stayed another year, it would have been much harder to get out?
Yeah, it would have been way harder.
I think that's something we talk with people a lot. It's like, if you want to do something, now is always better than later. And as dumb as that sounds, it's like people say, oh, I have this idea and I'm working on it and da-da-da. Like, but I'm in this job and like, I'm planning on kind of walking away in a year and making this transition. And like, what I always explain to people, because I see it time and time again, is, okay, you're there for a year. Now, next thing you know, you get an extra week's vacation and a little more and a bonus. Now your salary just went up $5,000. And then next year, oh man, you're making $10,000 more, and you got this. And then it becomes harder and harder to walk away from. So like, that's something that's not really talked about a lot. And I think it's very important if you really think you have the chops for self-employment or entrepreneurial tendencies or whatever you want to call it. Every day that you wait, it gets a little dangerous.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, it was hard, but I learned a lot in a year.
Well, good for you for recognizing that.
And I think it's super inspiring too to not do what makes sense on paper.
That's our favorite
And
thing.
like following your gut and your heart and really understanding what you want out of life. And it's like, oh, like this really doesn't make sense. Like, what's the ROI in this, or how's this going to work out? But actually following your heart and your gut and knowing deep down what you know is right.
Yeah, that was all my like parenting, and I was very lucky to grow up in a family that was all entrepreneurs, all people who just risked a lot for a lifestyle that they wanted, and it worked out. So, I'm sure if like my grandparents would have failed at what they did, they probably would have been, maybe would have been bitter, and then I would have had this totally different attitude. But they worked really hard and built a crazy good business, and that I think just rubbed off on me that like I can do that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, like, where does the entrepreneurial tendencies come from? Like, your whole family is entrepreneurs or what?
Yeah, my grandparents, first generation Americans, Macedonian.
Oh, nice.
So like my grandma's parents, they lived in Canada, which is way easier to get into. So they came from Macedonia to Canada in Windsor, and the laws back then were like the border was not tight.
Right.
So they basically said, like, they went to the border. They said, yeah, we're going to the Tigers game. We'll be back later tonight.
Never came back?
And just never came back.
No shit.
Just moved.
Wow.
And, didn't have any papers, didn't have anything. Very under the radar. And, like, my grandma's dad was a hat maker. I might be getting the people wrong, but one of their parents was a hat maker. And to learn it, he opened up his little hat stand. Or no, a hat cleaner. He opened up his little hat cleaning stand. And he didn't know how to clean hats.
Right.
And so what he did was he'd say, yeah, give me your hat. I'll have it ready by 5. And then he'd go to a real hat cleaner.
Oh, my God.
Get it cleaned and watch how they did it.
Right.
He just, like, watched how they cleaned the hat. And then after he did that, he wouldn't make any money. He'd charge him what the other people charge him. And that's how he learned to make.
I love that.
That's
hustle.
pure hustle, man.
Dude, that's so badass.
And, Grandpa started a pizza business. He had 2 kids. He was into professional baseball and tore his knee. Had some other little, like, sold awnings, door to door, and was just like a hustler trying to make money. But
Just trying to find his niche.
ended up, getting ripped off. And it's kind of just like, didn't have a job, had 2 kids. And my grandma said, like, don't come home until you have a job. Like, you're not coming home. So he went to his friend who owned a bowling alley, and he said, like, just let me make pizzas in the back.
Yeah.
So I can tell my wife I have a job, and so he did that, and he really liked making pizzas. He liked the process, like the dough and all that stuff. So he opened up a little stand, had like a little oven, cigar box for his money, and started selling pizzas, and then just opened 1 store and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
That's badass.
Yeah, started it from 1 store.
Really cool.
Very neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm going to restart the camera real quick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you understand this. They have the 30-minute timers And
Nice.
I don't know why. Well, I know why. We finally found out, but it's just so aggravating that you have to restart. Like, it can't record over 30 minutes. Like, seriously, hate that.
So what's next for Chester? Do you have a show planned right now, or do you have any tours lined up, or what?
Yeah, we've got September 8th, and that's the same day as Dally in the Alley. So we might move it to like September 9th, which is a Sunday, but maybe not. Might just go for it.
What's
And,
that event?
Detroit is spinning. So that's that's an outdoor event.
Oh, sick.
It'll be a little bigger than these room is spinning shows. Hopefully, a few more artists, and we're just gonna try to take like the best from each of the first 3 rooms spinning,
Nice.
and make Detroit is spinning.
Oh,
And
right
then
on.
hopefully use that as a template to do like Chicago, New York, other things.
Copy paste a little bit and
Yeah,
scale
just
it.
film the shit out of it and show it to people and be like, yeah, we did this in Detroit. We'll do it, anywhere.
And then how would you explain that show to somebody that's
Yeah.
never been? Like, it's a mix of art, music, culture,
Dancing,
I mean,
yeah,
how do you
it's-
promote it and sell it to people?
So yeah, I mean, I don't really know how the fuck I came up with it or like how I came up with what I was gonna do. I just wanted to get like all the dope people I knew together in the same room. So like that included Zach Hagee, that included Troy, my brother, some DJs that I liked. I don't know. I've just been to a lot of shows, and so I just wanted to make something that I would like, and that I would want to like put on my Instagram story, and that I would want to tell people about, and definitely try to make it like different in some way than what you were expecting, or like just another show. So yeah, there's art installations, there's like live video
That was really
effects,
sweet.
That was very
the
cool.
wall of TVs, food. I really like the idea of having like local food.
Yep. Taco John?
People get hungry, and so it makes no sense to me why you wouldn't just sell some like tacos. And then free beer, which is tight. So
Dude, we had a blast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that was the
We had
combination.
so much fun, and the way I would describe it to a stranger, hopefully this does it justice. This is what I felt like. Like, some guys came out of the 60s in a time machine, wound up in 2018, and wanted to throw a little banger. Like, that's what it was. It was
Sick.
art, it was dance, it was culture. The way that you had the TV projection and like the effects on there was very like 60s-esque, like
Nice.
the colors, the graph. It was just so.
Yeah, the spray paint wall.
It
that
was just it was
we had
the
a
whole
blast,
thing.
and I'm
It
not
was
just saying
so
that, it
we
was
had so
fun.
much fun, and I had people texting me and Snapchatting me and commenting on my story. Where are you? What is that? Like, dude, it was like something straight like out of a movie.
Hell yeah.
It was an incredible experience, and this is an honest plug for me. You need to try and get to these events because, to me, it was like something you see in a movie. It just really was unique. I've never seen. We've been to a lot of shit. I've never seen anything quite like that.
Yeah, definitely good vibes, good energy. You know, it was a great time. We
It was
really enjoyed
incredible.
it.
that's like, I get high off that shit.
And we're not kidding. Either.
No,
We had
I'm
a lot
not.
of people reach out to us,
Very honest.
text and like Snapchats, like, "Oh
What-
shit,
where
dude."
are you? What is that?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. So
That's my
Good
goal,
work.
man. I just don't like want to throw shows that like you go to and like kind of don't care about. I want people to talk about it. I want people to be to feel like they're like a part of something dope or different, and I just work really hard at always like adding a new idea. Like once I'm comfortable and like we have everything set up, I'm like, all right, what can we add? Like, what do we have? All right, we've got like 400 feet of Mylar, this like reflective material. Throw it down the hallway.
Yeah.
Make a little runway.
That was sick.
We need a sign at the front. Like, let's do that. So, and my goal is to just like keep building up money so I can actually like pay artists really, well. We pay all our artists now, but it's my goal is just to have this thing that like the artists are happy, I'm happy, the people who go are happy. I think like we market it just through my social, Maher's social, and then all the artists. And I think like the right people kind of show up, with the exception. I mean, there was a bachelor party at the last one that was like,
yeah, we saw those guys.
these guys were a nightmare, man. But
How did they know about
they
it?
were next. There was these lofts
That was
next door.
hilarious.
Dude, I saw them like loading in I see them with like dildos and like loading out like cases of beer right next door, and I'm like, it's like noon,
It's a frat
and
house.
it's noon on a Friday, so they don't have jobs, and they're gonna get drunk. So I'm like, all right, I gotta make friends with these guys. It's either now or I'm gonna hear about them
Right.
tonight.
Yeah.
They're gonna be here. And
They're gonna be here.
One of the dudes had a Griz head on, so I was like, yo, man.
Yeah.
And he knew my Instagram, so he was cool. But he did not back me up. Like he didn't keep his boys under control. They were because like midway through the night, they're like, "Hey, man, like some people are heckling people outside," and I go outside and see these dudes, and they're pretty drunk. And luckily, I like wrangled them inside with like kind words and bribed them with more beer, which is probably not.
Did you hurt them like cattle?
So my friend who was with me, he took the bad cop approach. He was like, "Get the fuck inside," like this, and they were like, "Fuck you, man." So I took like the nice guy approach, and I just like talked to them, distracted them as people were walking in. I was like, "Where you guys from, man? Like, who's getting married? Who's the lucky guy?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Yeah, man, like cops around here, they can do whatever they want. So like, this is my event, and it would really like it'd be such a bummer if cops showed up and they get really mad when people are on the street. So can like we go inside?"
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure, man." So they went inside, but then I guess they were throwing beers at the walls. I don't know.
Jeez.
It's just like kind of part of it.
Yeah.
There's
that stuff happens.
You ever watch like The Blueprint by Complex?
Mm-mm.
Is that a movie or a show?
It's a YouTube series. They basically interview successful people on like their blueprint of how they became successful. Dopest, most inspirational shit on YouTube for me.
Really? There you go, kids. There's your inspiration.
The Blueprint by Complex. But Scooter Braun did one. Justin Bieber's manager and managed, everything he does is gold.
Yeah.
And he basically said like his approach to managing people is like my same approach to being a promoter, which is like he looks at it as like being a coach on like a sports team, which is like the wins are for the team. So like, if they win a championship, like the players get all the glory and the losses fall on the coaches back. So that's like the same approach I take to promoting is like a successful night would be all the artists feeling great, all the artists feeling like, popular and like people are like the artist. And the worst night, like someone slips and falls, someone gets hurt, someone gets clogs the toilet or fucking gets their money ripped off. That's me.
Yep.
So I think like going into those shows, like, people are really nice and like boost your ego for sure. But you just got to be prepared to deal with like all the bad shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think like Gary Vee talks about like being a CEO, it's just putting out fires.
Yeah.
It's your only job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Detroit is spinning September 8th, potentially. September 9th.
September 8th, potentially 9th. Yeah. It's Big Pink Loves You. Big Pink Media is the name of the company that puts these on. And Big Pink Loves You is our Instagram. We have a little email list going, but we'll announce it on my social and probably within the next week or so.
So is the dream, the goal for you to be a promoter full-time and do shows, or pursue photography, or have shows like you said, like New York is spinning?
I mean, my goal is to like build the biggest thing that I can.
Right.
So like my goal would be to like put Live Nation out of business or something.
Right.
And like book arenas and like throw festivals and shit. And I think like the background of like I go to a lot of shows, grew up like as a fan, then moved into like media, which I think is like a very undervalued part of a lot of festivals. Some festivals crush it, but some festivals just like they don't care about photographers, they don't care about media, or they give them too much access and like they hire people who are like it's very exclusive.
Right. Yeah.
Like I want to throw a festival where I tell everyone to bring their camera.
Yeah.
Any fan can bring in a DSLR. any.
That would be so cool.
I don't get why they don't do that. Like, you're just gonna get more. The internet's just
Publicity
gonna
and
get
content,
flooded
yeah.
more with your
Yeah.
own shit.
That's kind of the point I was making with the whole watermark thing. Exactly. Like, yeah.
Like, I want my festival to be everything you see that weekend.
It's
on
so
social.
irritating as people who I never leave the house without a camera. Like when you go to something and they don't let you have a camera. There is nothing. I'm like, I'm gonna give you nothing but like another
Promote your
viewpoint.
event,
Yeah, and a lot of like artists, they don't like people filming their sets, I guess, because it can like, I don't know, give away their whole show, you know, if it's on YouTube. But for festivals, it's so much more about like Electric Forest. You imagine if like
Experience.
anyone could bring a DSLR in Electric
Yeah.
Forest, you'd have 40,000 different recaps that are all different and unique and dope, and it'd be so yeah. I'm throwing a 3-day festival as a goal.
Okay.
Having a company that's solely like very based on the music, but also like videographers, photographers, having culture like A to Z at these festivals or shows, like not just having a stage, music every 30 minutes and that's it. Having like people making clothing, people, you know, all the liquor is Detroit made, or all the you know, the audio equipment is from a local guy, or the lighting's from a local guy. Putting those people on, not making it about like Big Pink Media, but making it about like whoever put the lights on, whoever put the sound on, the venue. Just like making a very non-centralized event thing where it's not just about the event. And it leads to more interaction and stuff after the fact. So
That's badass.
yeah, I just want to throw a shit ton of shows that make a lot of money for a lot of different people, that don't cost like high volume, low ticket costs. And I want to always have a camera with me and always be making cool shit with my camera. So
I think it's a badass idea, and it's super value driven too.
100%.
Like you're providing a great time and a lot of awesomeness for different
experience.
people,
Yeah.
for businesses and just for the consumer. Like
Yeah,
your last
yeah.
event was $10. That was super reasonable for us to pay, and we got 2 beers with that
Yeah.
too. You
Yeah.
know, it's like if we go out to the bar, we'd spend $10 on 2 beers, and we don't have that awesome experience of your event. You know,
yeah.
It's very value driven, and yeah, that's what life's about, is experience. So
Yeah, and that shit, like, you make way more money, like, long term.
100%.
It's like business. If you're someone who's like, I don't give a shit about values, like, I just want to make money, which is fine. That's your right. You gotta like make a good product. So like all the work I put into that show is to make sure that someone doesn't pay $10 and think this wasn't worth $10.
I don't know anybody who showed up to that who wouldn't think that.
Yeah, so like that's a success, is that people came and felt like they got their money's worth and didn't feel like they were getting ripped off, and I made money and the artist made money, and
Win-win,
it pays for itself. So like my first show, I didn't have any of this shit. I had a ton of musicians who were overpaid, and I had a really high ticket price, and all I wanted was to make money, and I had a shit product, and that's what you get.
Full
So,
circle, huh? You
Yeah.
kind of see how it comes.
Yeah, you make your product really good.
Yeah.
Like Chester Pink Photography, that was like 2 years of making my product good. Then I asked for someone to pay for it. So, yeah, you got to have some good shit to dish out. if you're gonna
Chester
make
Pink,
money.
I think you're on the right track, and I think you have the right mindset, and nobody can question your work ethic if they've listened to the last hour of this show. So I think that you have the pieces in place and good things to come.
Hot.
I'm excited to see what you do next.
Detroit
I'm
is
glad we got connected with you too. Like,
Yeah.
we had like I said again, we had a blast, and I'm sure we'll be at the next one.
Yeah,
Detroit is
we'll be
spinning.
around.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Detroit is spinning. It's gonna be
I
hot.
think you've given some really great advice.
This
today
is
too.
very incredible advice. One of the best. This is the podcast I will recommend for anybody who wants to get into any creative field. Out of all 34 episodes, you've delivered the most. I'm serious. You've delivered, and it's not a knock to any other ones. You've just delivered excellent advice and value on a level that I can get behind just about everything you said. So
Hot.
I couldn't say it better myself.
Fresh. Chester Pink's school of doing dope shit.
Yeah. So plug all your stuff real
Big
quick
Pink
too.
Media will
Yep.
also have a school.
Yes,
summer school
yeah,
for creators.
dude.
Yeah.
I'll open a school. That'd be dope. I'm gonna be on tour with Sun Squabby and Big
Okay.
Gigantic
Okay.
this fall.
Oh, big gigantic. I like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
this is big tour for me. First time working with them. Got those 2 tours. I want to throw shows every day of my life. So if you just follow, I am Chester Pink. Big Pink loves you. We got like 50 followers. We started it a couple days ago.
Let's boost that up now.
So yeah, boost that up. But yeah, just follow on social media, and there's always I'm always doing something that you can be involved with.
Check out his website too. What's your website?
Website is chesterispink.com.
Check that out. I liked the most recent blog post. Those photos on there. That was
Thanks.
very cool.
Yeah,
The festivals.
Yeah, and
it's a beta. It's a beta form of my website right now. A lot
I
of
like
tours
it.
on it. Thanks.
I
gotta add
like
more.
you shot those photos of all the people. What was the most recent event? The one at the very top. I looked through all of them, but it was
Movement.
Yeah, you shot
Was it
everybody
Movement?
like
Yeah.
from a very low angle, and it was very unique. Like
It's
that's
like-
not a traditional.
I've been going to like since I quit the wings. I've just had like more bigger jobs.
Yeah.
It's not getting paid like every single little day. I'm
right.
like, so a lot like Movement. I went to Movement, and I was like, I can't not have my camera. So I got a pass from a friend, and they let me bring my camera in, and I was just like, I'm just gonna shoot fashion, like all the dope outfits I see. I'm just gonna get photos of those, make a blog post.
Yeah.
So that's what that was.
You said like what you liked about the outfit, which is cool. So
I didn't finish it though. I got it. Yeah, but thank you.
But yeah, again, that angle was a real. You were shooting most of the things like bottom up, and it just
Makes the
created
legs look sexy.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's created a unique
right.
perspective of just non-traditional. So very cool. Check out his website. Let's get that Instagram up and
Get the IG up. Yeah, and like literally reach out if you ever want to do anything with me.
boom.
I've got nothing but
DM's
time.
best way to reach you.
Yeah, DM or 248-838-8084.
Oh, ladies.
That is
Call me.
direct. I mean, so you gave us direct access. That's
Call it.
somebody
Oh
who
shit!
just.
Well, we still have all his questions too. I just
Oh my
remembered
god!
that.
I just
Wanna
remembered
hit
that.
those?
Yeah, totally forgot. Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow,
Chester
I would have
at
been remiss.
chesterispink.com.
Yeah.
Find me on Venmo at
Venmo him some money.
Yeah.
yeah, Venmo me $1 and I'll do anything.
I read this. This was a while ago, but it was one of those accounts that repost everything. I don't know. And they said some girl's been going around, and when real attractive young gal, and when guys would be like, "Hey, can I have your number?" She'd take their phone and instead of putting her number, and she'd Venmo herself like $50.
Oh
She
my
was just.
sick.
I'm like, that is
Hustle.
that is pure unadulterated hustle.
Hustle.
Like just
Low key theft, which I like.
yeah.
But
Like maybe a slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
I don't know what the repercussion, but I read that and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, get
that's an
criminal.
entrepreneur.
kids, do hood rat shit with your friends.
You learn. All right, what do we got, Ken?
All right, yeah. So we asked Chester to promote on social media that he was going to be on the podcast and ask for questions. So did that.
I wrote down every question that I got.
Okay.
So there's some silly ones, so you can weed out it's up to you.
All right, we'll see. We might just go down the list.
And I did it word for word, so grammatically there's gonna be some.
Okay.
errors.
All right. Why pink?
Why pink? It's a beautiful color, man.
Is it your favorite color?
No, green was my favorite color before I made the name Chester Pink.
we have
I went to high school with the guy. His name was Chester Green.
Oh, really?
So I had to.
No way.
Yeah.
I was this close to being that guy.
That just like hit me like I was like literally about to spit out my drink because I,
I
was
think
drinking.
I'm very into like the
Oh.
I like being like gentle, somewhat effeminate. I don't like I'm very non-machismo,
Yeah.
very kind. So pink was like the nicest color for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Do you like to wear pink clothes?
Yeah, I usually wear something pink. Today was like kind of a photog uniform with the all black, but I have a lot of pink.
We got a pink beanie.
We
for
do
you
have a
over
pink
there. We're
beanie
gonna
for
hook
you.
you up with. We got
Dude,
you.
there you go.
We
Sick.
got you. What is your favorite show/event you've ever shot?
Man, I mean, the worst one was when the Red Wings lost 10-0 or 10-1.
Oh my gosh.
That was the worst event I ever shot, probably. The best one, Griz 2015. I was like maybe 6 months or 5 months into shooting, and I'd only shot little clubs and like house shows.
Yeah.
And then Griz was like, "I'll give you a pass if you if you make it out to Denver, I'll give you a pass."
Mm.
And so I went and just got like my ass kicked by this huge venue where like I had no idea of how much battery I needed, how much memory. Like I ran out of battery memory by like the second act.
Oh wow.
So I had to like figure all that shit out and like
Before
running
Griz
up
got
this,
even got on.
getting your wide shots in a small club. You just walk 10 feet to the back. getting your wide shot at Red Rocks, fucking 9-mile hike
Altitude.
up a thing, yeah, where you're very tired, and it's
Yeah.
not like you can't just go back and
Yeah.
forth. It takes like 10 minutes, and there's thousands of people in your way.
Mhm.
So it was like just like the most I've learned in one night by failing with photography was Red Rocks.
Did you fly out there?
And
just for that?
and it was the first time Griz posted a photo that I sent him, which like for live music photographers, it gives you little butterflies that
Yeah.
you're on the right track
Mhm.
when an artist likes your photo enough to put it on his page.
So did you just go out to Denver just to do his show?
Mm-hmm.
Did you? That's
Yeah, I
sick.
drove out, did the show, went home.
That's sick.
That's cool.
What's the work you're most proud of?
Red Wing stuff for sure. It's like the hometown team. Very cool that
That
I
is cool.
have my stuff that I did for the Red Wings.
Mm.
The Sun Squabby Red Rocks video. I shot Red Rocks 2 days after I quit the Red Wings.
Mhm.
They had a Red Rocks show,
Hmm.
so it just kind of like worked out. It was a nice like. I spent a week out there, and it's just like great time. And that video got me the Big Gigantic tour, and a bunch of other work that like, people really seem
Wow.
to gravitate towards it. They like it a lot, and that was right. That was my first little re-entry into live music. So
You had all that like creative just building up, and you could just let
yeah,
it
it was
fly. You know,
it was crazy that I made something that dope right out the gate.
Yeah,
It was that's one of my favorite.
you shedded
videos.
that corporate coat, and the
Yeah, made
creative
something
flag
dope.
flew.
I bought a drone right before I went out there.
Really?
So got a cool drone shot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Is that like all on their channel, or do you put this stuff on your like YouTube
And
or whatever?
Social media. It's all social media. Like with the Red Wings, obviously you're doing like stuff for billboards and
Right.
signage and stuff like that. But these artists, they pay a lot. Like it's a very important thing for live music. So all Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Favorite fish song?
That was my friend Bobby. We went to a fish show when we were like 16. Tripping on acid.
So
I
you
don't-
really went to a fish show.
Yeah, we fished out. I don't like fish. He asked me that because we went to that show
Way to go,
once.
Bobby.
We have a friend that really likes fish. I know the name of one song, so that's my favorite song. It's called Possum.
Is it?
Yep.
The only song I really know is Farmhouse.
Yeah.
Farmhouse.
That's kind of like a more like.
I mean, dude,
popular
they're good
song.
vibes for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just, it's just not what I listen to in the car. Like I don't listen to.
Our cousin loves.
How many shows do you think Russ has been to? Our cousin's
Fish?
been to.
20 plus.
I think
30
yeah,
plus maybe.
he loves them, man.
Yeah.
It's just
Fish fan, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Mike and Ike's?
Favorite
Favorite
candy.
candy? I should have known that we could have.
But not the Reggies. I don't do with the green pack. I like the Berry Blast or the Tropical Typhoon.
What is that? The blue box?
That's like I eat those in under a minute every time. It's disgusting.
There's a 7-Eleven right in the corner.
just
We're gonna
inhale-
run down, get a big bowl of them, and
I inhale them.
dude.
They're
So what
just-
color boxes? Because I don't know. I know the blue box.
The blue box and there's a purple box. That
Okay.
blue box is Berry Blast,
Okay. Yeah. That
Yeah,
very
that's
solid lineup.
delicious.
and then Tropical Typhoon gives Berry Blast a run for its money.
You ever
And then
dabble
there's
with
the
hot
Mega Mix.
tamales? Similar concept, just the spicy things.
I do not fuck with that.
Okay, see, it's like
No,
the
I
same.
Same consistency for sure. I haven't gotten into it though. I mean, I feel like that's like a much more mature approach.
Like the older
The
brother.
Mike and Ike's
maybe.
are very-
yeah.
I'm like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So maybe the older brother eats the.
Wait. So you eat the Mike and Ike's just like out of your hand, or do you just drink them out of the box?
Are you a carton drinker? Or are
I
you
get
a
them.
scooper?
I get them on road trips. I don't get them every day. I treat myself. So it's I get them when I'm doing long drives or
Yeah.
maybe on the way home from a show and just like need that little berry burst. And so a lot of times I'm driving, which maybe isn't safe, but right
Dude,
down the
Yeah.
gullet.
That's how I
That's
eat
the
my
only
Mike and
way.
Ike's.
If I'm sitting, I pour it in my hand. It's-
Really?
See,
But most of the time I go.
Yeah.
don't
More
actually.
times than not, that's
Yeah.
how I'm eating Mike and Ike's is just drinking them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the only way. Well, our guilty pleasure is like we love Sour Patch watermelon for like road trips, things like that.
Yeah.
And what we did when we bought our van, we got would you say it was like 1.5 pounds maybe?
it's-
It was a bag about
huge.
this big. We had to drove down to Columbiana, Ohio to get our van, And so we already drove, what, was it 6 hours
6
there?
or 8,
And then we had to drive like 6 to 8 hours back. We got this bag like this big, set it right in the center console. We ate the whole thing on the way home. I could still
That's
taste
what I
it.
would do, man. I eat like
Crushed.
until I hate myself.
Yeah.
I eat
So,
them until I'm like
Yeah.
literally my teeth are made of
Yeah,
sugar.
like the grinding up.
Yeah, and I'm vegetarian. I'm pretty healthy most days. I got coffee, water usually.
Yeah.
But those Mike and Ike's, man. The
I haven't had
Ike's.
Mike and Ike's in a
kryptonite.
minute.
Yeah,
you
I'm
got
gonna
me
have to go
craving
get
them
Dude,
right
let's
now.
like after this. Let's go get a
7-Eleven, dude.
Round
It's
on
right
me,
there.
man.
Yes.
Mike
round,
and Ike.
round, round. God, it's so generous. I love
Reminds
it.
me of Jimmy Neutron movie that kids like we had a candy eating contest
Yeah.
And I won.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
burps.
Oh man, just ate too many Mike and Ike's.
Yeah, that's when that's the movie.
Yeah,
Parents
yeah.
leave.
Because
Yeah.
you said brain blast
Yeah,
earlier.
I used to pee in the shower,
Yeah.
and
I'm
just
still
because
doing
Shane,
it. Yeah.
just because she like I never peed in the shower. It didn't make sense. Like I never thought to until I watched that movie, and then I peed in the shower always, and then I yelled throughout my house, "I'm peeing in the shower!"
And he does it. He's like, it's like a constant cutback. You know, like
Yeah,
then
yeah,
something
yeah.
else happens. It's like I'm still doing it. It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Ultra Lord. Oh my gosh, bro.
I used to do an impression of Mrs. Fowler.
I would love to hear that.
Like, it's like, Carl Weezer, your mom left you a pair of you know what in the office.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good, and you probably don't do that very often anymore.
I do a lot of impressions.
Really? Oh,
That's that was one thing I did as a kid. I was always entertaining my family, and I impressions.
what else? Do you have any favorites?
I mean, just like countries, you know.
Like
Skroove
accents?
Podcast. It's a great place, you know. Get out your thoughts, and you know, sit back, have a beer, you know, just talk about life. You know, I love throwing events, love photography. It's an art form. It's a real. You do Australian.
that was solid.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say "Skroove" in the Australian accent.
Skroove.
Yeah. All right.
What's your Skroove?
redo an intro for us.
What's she say in the intro?
60
60, 60 seconds of Skroove.
that real.
We might have to replace Lexi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lexi, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It's a great intro, by the way.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
was solid.
Thank you. Who is Chester Pink, and how would you like to be defined?
Whew.
Me as a human being. No,
Okay.
I don't. It's Chester Pink is this character I made up for anything I do with live music or photography or videography. I started it as a way, my real personality. I was a bad dude, stole a lot of stuff, got arrested, just like not good morally. And so I made this Chester Pink, and literally like wrote down character traits that I wanted him to have that like the real me didn't. So honest, like on time, punctual, follows up with people, humble, never gets angry, never yells at anyone, like just all these things. So that's who Chester is. Just a kind soul.
Was that after sobriety, or when did Chester
Yeah,
Pink get
Chester Pink
invented?
started a week after I got sober.
Really?
So it was like it was a personality disorder for a while there.
Really?
And now the two have merged into one harmonious person.
Nice.
But,
I
like,
love
like
that.
Slim and
Yeah, it was kind of a way for
Slim
me
and
to
M, Tyler Durden, and the other guy.
Slim and M.
He said Slim and M.
like Slim Shady.
Slim Shady.
Oh, Slim and M.
Yeah. I guess that sounded like Slim and M. That yeah.
Slim and M is the dope name.
Why doesn't he use that?
Slim and M. Yeah. So yeah, that's who it is.
How did it become Chester Pink?
Again, didn't like who I was, so I made this new character to kind of try to restart.
How many names did you
Yeah,
have?
yeah.
So when I was using, I would try to avoid people because that's what addicts do.
Uh-huh.
They avoid people
Yeah.
who love them and try to like reach out and help them. So I would change my name on social media, and I had like Alexander Supertramp
Oh,
That's
nice.
from
Into the
Into the
Wild.
Wild.
Tyler
Alexander
got me
Leather
that
Tramp.
book. Freaking love that.
Dude, it's one of the greatest stories told. Sad, but really inspiring. I have the audiobook.
Do you?
Not a big
Sick.
reader, big audiobook guy. Anthony White, James Black, Tony Green.
All colors.
I had all. Yeah, it was always like there was a group in the '80s, James Black and the Whites, and so I,
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's dirty.
unreal.
That's dirty.
That would
On-
never fly today.
no, yeah,
Not a chance.
yeah. They were a group in the '80s, and I read about them in this book, and I liked a regular first name with a color.
That's cool.
And so all of them were like normal, like Tony, Tom, Anthony, whatever. And then I have a really unique first name. My government name is pretty unique. Not a lot of other people have it. And so Chester was like a name that not a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But like people know.
You listing off all these colors like instantly takes me to Reservoir Dogs.
I was just
Mr.
gonna-
Pink, Mr. Orange,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Yellow. Mr.
I give out names. Like I got a whole Rolodex. Like all my coworkers at the Red Wings, I gave them all alter ego names.
Really?
Oh, that's
Like
sick.
Francis Larange, Julian
Exotic.
Cerulean is a dope one.
That is cool.
Veronica Teal, which is kind of porny sounding.
Yeah, it's super.
But yeah, I gave
One of my
them-
alter egos, Lawrence Schimmelfinney.
Lawrence Schimmelfinney.
Yeah, he was a college.
Sounds
alter
like he's
ego.
up to no good.
He was always up to no good. Yeah, Lawrence Schimmelfinney.
Well-
I stole it from my middle school math teacher. Claimed it was the name of his ghost in his house. I'm like, that is the greatest name I've ever heard. Lawrence Schimmelfinney.
Your middle school.
When I was in my seventh
A
grade.
thought there was a ghost.
Yeah, yeah.
A believed in ghosts.
Yeah, no,
and was a math teacher, which is very practical.
Yeah, so like that. I think he just liked to like screw with everybody.
There's a
So like he
dissonance
made it up, and
Okay.
he and he.
Mr. Neminsky.
Mr. Bob Newman, and he always
Oh,
he always talked
gosh,
really fast.
dude.
No, Lawrence Schimmelfinney. Like he just come and
Love
I was like,
Megadeth.
that is the most incredible name. Like that doesn't even Schimmelfinney. Kind of like SpongeBob. That kind of reminds me of who's the guy who's number one?
Oh,
Smitty Wilberman Jensen.
yeah.
What a name.
Well, we had fake IDs.
Make
and,
a fake name.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun.
What was your fake ID?
Huey
Oh.
Maloons.
What? What is it?
Huey Maloons was my fake ID name.
Oh man! How quick did that get taken? Or did people buy it?
It-
You look.
no,
you
it-
got a mustache. You're,
Well, it did, but the
You didn't at
reason
the
it
time.
did,
Yeah, I
the
guess
reason
you're
it did,
of age now.
is because the guy didn't put the hologram in it, so it didn't work under the black light. I am convinced it would have worked had it had the black light.
That's like a
thing.
McLovin type.
It is
name.
100. That is more. That is almost like the closest thing to McLovin.
That's like if you were my friend and you bought that, I'd look at it and I'd say, all right, this ID says you're 25. Why wouldn't you just say 21, man? And it doesn't even have a first name. It just says Huey What is it?
Huey Maloons.
Huey Maloons. Why don't you just pick a normal name?
so like
Because
we,
I wanted it was so conspicuous. It was
so
inconspicuous.
overt it was covert.
Yeah.
we like go on these strange tangents. Like if you ever sit with us for like more than 5 hours, like our minds just wander. And like so off that we spawned a movie idea. Well, we have all these movie ideas.
Sick.
And one of them is Huey Maloons, a true story about a fake ID is like the title of the
Nice.
movie. But it's not even about that. It's about can we preview a little taste of it?
Well, going back to Huey Maloons, I was going to get a bunch of business cards made to help prove, because my credit cards didn't line up with it. I
Yeah.
was just going to prove that I had to. So it's
Wow.
going to be
Love
Maloons,
this.
balloons, Maloons,
Maloons,
raccoons.
raccoons.
Like I had all these
Maloons,
rhyming-
lagoons.
yeah.
Maloons, mushrooms. Like
Wow.
we had all these like, and we were like, oh yeah, come from an extensive.
Well, I don't
family.
think my name's real. I have like a raccoon business right
Yeah.
here.
Hell yeah.
And then so we said we had to make a movie about it, and we came up with this in South Carolina earlier this year. And it's Maloons, a true story about a fake ID, and it's gonna be this concept of these two brothers, Huey and Tommy Maloons, because Tommy is such a little brother name. Like it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
He's got like a super high pitched voice.
Tommy. I want to cast a young Joe Pesci for it. Tommy Maloons. How the hell are
I
you?
did a character on tour when we got to Brooklyn. We were doing a show in Brooklyn. Everyone, just idiots. We were all doing the New York accent,
Yeah.
and I was sleeping. So we're like pulling into Manhattan. I'm sleeping, and I wake up, and everyone's like, "Hey, it's gonna, bullshit thing," and I just go. You fucking fucks. You don't know the first thing about Brooklyn.
That is what you just did. That's Tommy Maloons.
It
right
was
there.
Joey Trippiani. Nice to meet you. But you could do Tommy Trippiani.
Yeah. And the way you first meet Tommy is like because he's a short guy. He's about my
Yeah.
short. Taps you on your shoulder, like
Yeah. Or yanks the bottom of your shirt. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking. Yeah, exact, dude. You are describing Tommy
my
Maloons to a T. And so like their job.
We have all this old money.
We have money. We have money from because our
Because
great
our family invented the balloon.
the balloon.
Oh,
So that's our.
So our
that's
like, great grandfather invented the balloon in like the 1800s.
Yeah.
And
Cue like old Italian music.
Yeah, yeah.
And a guy like, the air it has to go inside. Like cows in the background.
Mamma mia!
Eat the floor.
Oh yeah, so we have this whole premise for this.
Wow.
Our arch nemesis are the family that invented the
safety
safety pin.
pin, yeah.
Because we looked up the history, and the safety pin was invented like 25 years later.
After-
after
yeah.
the
You guys
first
are very
balloon.
creative.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
so,
the
yeah.
trailer's gonna be like, for 25 years they were safe. You know what I
This is
mean?
great.
And our
man.
whole thing is we need to bring the
We need to bring
balloons pride into the 21st century. Like we're like, yeah, did you see it? That red balloon, that was us.
That was
like,
a balloon's
we're
balloon.
trying to like get the our
Reclaim
balloon. Like,
Yeah.
the balloon.
yeah, did you see Up? Did you see Up? Oh, that wasn't us. But we were
Yeah.
this close, and like all we want is our grandparents' acceptance, so they think we're degenerates. And that's
Wow.
Balloons, a true story about it. It has nothing to do with the fake ID, but that's the title is too good.
Yeah,
to-
this all spawned from a
yeah,
fake ID.
exactly. A true story about a fake ID.
Respect. See, I'm telling you, man. Like, there's something about creating an alter ego
It's dangerous.
that allows your mind. Like, if you were, what's your guys' last name?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. So, like, yeah, like, if you were to say like Tyler Lindsay, it's harder to like go make up a story about your like grandparents or like your grandparents.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But you make up a character, anything is possible.
Dude,
you know, Chester Pink can wear a dress if he wants to. He can wear overalls. He can
Yeah.
get tattoos and shit, and be maybe a little edgier than the real me. But it allows you to do stuff that.
Yeah,
It allows a lot of creativity.
It's very interesting. I really like kind of what you presented with that. It's a very
well, and the
interesting-
character traits thing too is very cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't like kind of who I am and what I'm about. I'm gonna make
Yeah.
up like this character, this fictitious character, and like this is what I want him to be, and this is who I want to become.
something elemental, something terrifying. Batman.
Yeah.
It's like Batman reference, but
Yeah, stick to it. Like I took it very seriously. So like if I had a camera in my hand, even if I wanted to like, maybe like cheat the system a little, or if I wanted to leave early because I was tired, I couldn't, because Chester would never do that.
Chester wouldn't.
Chester's
That's sweet.
he's a workhorse.
I like that. That's
Yeah.
very interesting.
and that I believe because of the Red Wings story. I mean, that's crazy.
Dude, that is nuts.
I'm still very
I'm
surprised
very,
by
I'm very
that is a shit ton of
ultimate-
content.
You have my respect there.
What inspires you?
Other people for sure. If I'm like alone by myself, it's hard for me to light a fire in my ass. But if I got people to call on, people that are depending on me, or people that are going to be showing up to my event that I promoted, that inspires me to like make sure that place looks great. And like, so yeah, other people for sure. I thrive off of, but I also too, like, you gotta not be dependent on that, because like not everyone, you can't expect everyone to have the same level of passion for your show that you do. And I've realized that like throwing this room and spinning shows, I care like a lot more than most people, because it's my money up and it's my idea and it's
your
my
baby.
reputation. It's
Yeah.
my baby. So there's a balance I think I gotta find, but definitely other people. What else? My parents, my family. They're very inspiring. Their stories and their support, and then like responsibility, like putting myself in situations where I have to make money or I have to follow through. Having a relationship, or having like my grandparent, him having kids. Like, having kids isn't maybe the best
Right.
answer to
Example,
like,
yeah.
but a lot of people, that's when they figure it out, when they have a tremendous amount of responsibility. So for me, as long as I've got some sort of accountability system, I do good things.
What about like on a creative level? Like you talked about Scooter Braun and like this Gumbo guy, was that his name? Like Big Sean's promoter.
Yeah, Gumbo.
Is there guys that you look up to like, oh, they threw a badass show, and it's like I kind of want to emulate that or take parts of that?
There's a ton of people. I mean, for me, it's like social media can be. There's a ton of people I look up to, but I'm not like, most of them are non-photographer. Like they do like painters or something.
Okay.
When I was early on, I got really into looking at other photographers on social, and it kind of like psyched me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And made me just kind of want to copy paste what the other guys did, and it would never look as good as what they did, because that's their thing. So, creatively, I like to get little tidbits and then run with it. Not get like the full picture of how someone makes a video,
Right.
but how did you do like that shutter drag thing, and then learn that, and then go make my own thing with it. So, yeah, I mean, like in Detroit, there's, Camera Jesus, I think, is like the all-time goat of photography, as far as everything he puts out is really, really good.
Yeah.
And then like collabing with people creatively stimulates me. So having a little extra input, like Zach, great collaborator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mostly the people I surround myself with, and my own little head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Films.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of movies.
What's your favorite movie?
Mm.
Top 3.
Top 3? I don't know, man. I mean, I like new films, so I like watching independent films a lot. I also like bullshit popcorn flicks.
Right.
That just cost a lot of money to make, and they're just like dumb you out. But
What's something recently you watched you really like?
I really liked Whiplash. It was the guy who directed La La Land.
Yeah.
He directed Whiplash.
About the drummer, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a sweet
Love that
movie.
film. I've watched The Founder, which is about
Ray Kroc.
Ray Kroc. I've watched that about 30 times probably.
You just watched it and he told me to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right after my grandpa died. Ray Kroc reminds me a lot of my grandpa.
Really?
So I watched that movie on tour like every night.
Oh,
Wow.
that's sick.
Yeah, it was a nice little film. He's morally a lot. I would say my grandpa, he never was with the same woman for years and
Yeah.
didn't.
Wouldn't
morally,
stick
Ray
a hose
Kroc
in your
was the
mouth
top.
if you were drowning. That's the
Yeah.
infamous Ray
Yeah,
Kroc
yeah, yeah.
quote. If my
Exactly.
competitor was drowning,
But
I'd stick a hose in his mouth.
franchising was like a big
Sure.
thing with my grandpa's business, so he always revered Ray Kroc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that franchise model. So
Mhm.
yeah, Founder, Whiplash.
Here's something super deep. Hey, question mark.
Oh, is that a question? Hey,
I mean, yeah.
hey.
Hey,
Um,
what's up? How you doing?
No response.
No comment.
No comment.
Who do you love more, your mom or your dad?
Oh, wow.
That was my mom sent me that.
I was
I
gonna,
figured
that is,
that was
that is
definitely had
a
to be
booby
biased.
trap right there.
My mom. No, I'm just kidding. No,
Who has more of odds to listen to this?
Yeah.
And just say them.
my dad.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah.
my mom doesn't like profanity. I've definitely dropped a few bombs. So yeah, my mom's a pastor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So very I'm very into Christianity and spiritual. My whole life is based on spiritual principles, but I got a bad mouth. So she doesn't like that. My dad they'll both listen. They're both very supportive. She'll just be upset.
You should just answer that question with the question. So, who's your favorite child?
Ooh,
Bang.
zinger. Catch
Your
22.
move. Your move, mom.
Clap back.
Parliament or Funkadelic?
You guys know Parliament and Funkadelic?
I've heard of Parliament.
Yeah,
I haven't
I
heard
haven't
of-
heard of
George
Funkadelic.
Clinton. So there's George Clinton, Parliament, Funkadelic, and then Parliament and Funkadelic.
Okay.
Just 70s funk groups
Yeah.
that are just unreal. Detroit based. I'm going to say Funkadelic. They're a little more psychedelic and trippy. They made a whole record on acid in a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Parliament just makes the funk.
Yeah.
Um,
Bang, bang.
Yeah, they got shit. Goddamn. Get off your ass and jam. Hey, shit. They make that
A
stuff.
slap of the best.
Funkadelic is more just Jimi Hendrixy kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
And when I was in high school, I would just listen to that shit all night.
Love that. When will I see you?
That was from Harrison, and he asked me the day before yesterday, and he saw me yesterday, so answered in the
It
books.
says checked.
Saw
There you go,
him.
Harrison.
Yeah.
What makes the room is spinning so goddamn good every time I attend?
Every time you attend, I would assume that's every time. I think that was Bobby that asked that. It's different. It's different every time. All three have been very different.
Keeping it fresh.
Gotta
you on your
keep
toes.
It
Keeping it fresh for the people.
Yeah, so I think that's what.
When will I see you again? Harrison must have known.
No,
Submitted a second question.
That was after we hung out.
It's
He's
been
a
a
needy guy. No, that was from this girl Graham. She runs marketing for Electric Forest.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I met her this year. We hung out a little at Forest, and she's a very cool person. And I hope to see her very soon. She lives in Boulder, Colorado. But I'd love to hang out with her. She's great.
Well, Graham, why don't you come to Detroit is spinning?
Yeah, Graham.
Oh, wow. Call to action.
Yeah,
Your move,
Graham.
Graham.
She gets paid. She can afford
Hey,
it.
get out here. Come. Detroit is spinning.
Yeah.
August 8th, potentially the 9th, right?
Weekend after Labor
Yeah,
Day.
come August 7th, leave August 10th.
There you go.
And you'll
Bada
hit
bing, bada boom.
You'll hit the show.
All right, this is an interesting question. I like where this guy's going. Ass or clown or ass clown?
Ass clown.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say
that's
that one.
Lee. He calls me ass clown.
Really?
Yep. He calls all of his friends ass clowns.
Yeah, I
They're
feel like
all-
it's a lot more to the point rather than you ass or you clown.
Well, it reminds us of our favorite insult.
Which is?
oh my gosh, yeah, this is a great insult.
You can't insult anybody further than if you say to them, "Who is this clown?" Because not only are they a clown, they're not even a famous clown.
Not even
Who is
well-known.
this clown? Whoa!
One, you're calling him a clown. Two, it's like you must be
Yeah.
the shittiest clown
If,
in the
if
world.
nobody
Who's
knows
this
who you
clown?
are, yeah.
That is a great insult. Yeah.
That is just mean.
Yeah,
You don't bounce back from that.
You don't want to be that guy.
All right, what makes the Roomba spinning stand? Oh, I think it's supposed to. What makes a Roomba spinning stand out over other events?
I think that I don't throw events for a living, so I don't really know how to do it. So it probably is a little different than like someone who has done it for years and years. The layout's probably a little different. It probably has like, I don't know. It's got a lot of different elements. So most people pick one and kind of go with that. It's either like a concert or a food event or a clothing event. We kind of do everything. So I would say that's the difference.
Very cool.
Are you looking for more talent for future shows?
I saw who asked me this. Of course. She asked me another question too, which I think is after this, which is
Oh,
What's
we
the
got
question
two
after?
left. I know a talented local artist. Could I recommend them to you for your next show?
yeah, like don't even of course. Like send me all the dope shit you know. I'm looking for all of it because we try to
I love these call to actions.
yeah, send me any cool thing that I should have at my show. Yeah. I know a limited amount of artists, so we always need more.
For whatever reason, I think people feel like they're like bugging you, and like we kind of get like questions like that
No,
too.
they're helping.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It's like we would love to meet as many people and help out as many
Yeah.
people as possible. So,
Yeah.
It's just
send me
that's-
all the cool stuff you know.
There you go.
and we've covered this about 100 times. But when is your next show?
If you
September
can't
3rd.
listen.
No, I'm just kidding. September 8th.
Hey-o.
Audible. No, it's September 8th as of now.
But follow I am Chester Pink on
It's
Instagram.
simple. You follow them, you'll know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
follow
you'll
me,
plug
you'll
it.
know.
Subscribe.
Or
Like,
just, like-
comment. Give a rating.
Sometimes if I don't want to follow someone, I'll bookmark one of their posts.
Yeah.
So then I always have their handle. So if you're one of those stingy people, you don't want to follow me, that's fine. Just bookmark my posts, check in once a week.
And
we
it's-
can follow him. It's to follow. Nobody
Yeah,
cares.
or
do
just
it.
follow me, you
Just make it
selfish
happen. Don't be
bastard.
lazy.
And is it Big Pink Loves You? Is your other your promoter?
Yeah, follow too.
Yeah, let's
you-
get that
you
blowing up.
stingy people.
Yeah,
follow them
Big
both.
Pink loves you. I have to. I'm excited. I'm going to create an LLC, which is always an exciting thing to do.
Congratulations.
And then open a bank account, which is always an exciting thing to do.
Those are the first two steps to
Yeah.
And
that.
people often ask us like how hard that is, and it's not
So
hard at
easy.
all.
Dude, go to the bank, tell them.
I want a business. The biggest, a very big piece of advice I can give you that was given to me by an entrepreneur I respect in the highest of regards. Have a great relationship with your bank manager. It
Yeah.
just makes life so easy. You need anything done. New credit cards. You need to open a different kind of account. Anything, you can just call them and they will take the Chase Bank and Clio still. I don't even like going to the banks around here. Not that there's anything wrong with them. They just are so good there. They take such good care of us, and it pays massive dividends.
Chase Bank and Clio. Yeah, like financial literacy is like, I don't know, not a lot of people our age have it.
No.
Which is like understandable. They don't teach it in schools. But I have a friend who works at Morgan Stanley. He graduated from Michigan State, and like that's what he got into. I gave him all my savings.
Yeah.
Like I don't need my money. It's just sitting in my bank account. If you have money sitting in your bank account, you're wasting it. Just invest it with someone who will invest it for you. That doesn't cost money. They'll just take a percentage of your profit.
Yep.
So it's free. So find someone, Morgan Stanley, like some private investor, and they can also help you with like taxes. Like I didn't know anything about like I still don't really, but I'm learning more about. You can save a lot of money with like business expensing and just knowing how to do that stuff. You make a lot of money quickly, and it doesn't you don't have to burn through cash.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the complete opposite end of the spectrum. And if you have overdraft fees on your personal account, having a good relationship with your bank manager can take care of those. If you don't have enough money in your bank account.
Bada boom.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And the real. Take care of your money, kids.
Take care of your money. It buys
Yeah,
you
take care of your money.
opportunities and experiences. What was I saying?
Put your nickels under your pillow
Or in your sock.
for 10 years, and you'll have $100 by the time you're my age.
You buy a savings bond, and in 52 years, it'll be worth twice as much.
I bought a bar of gold from Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1948, and now I've got 2 bars of gold.
Now I've lost that bond. I have not.
And I don't know where I put it, but when I find it,
Holy shit. Well, I think
I think that's a good note
up.
to end on.
Unless
Wow.
Chester has anything else you'd like to plug.
Yeah, this
or
is a
talk
platform for
about,
you to
but-
convey anything you want, man. So the floor is yours.
no, man, I'm good. We talked about a lot.
We did cover a lot.
Yeah, just do what you want to do in life. That's it.
Have fun. Thanks, Chester. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for
Yeah,
your
thanks
time.
for coming out,
Thanks
man.
for having me. Skroove is the shit.
Hey, you'll be seeing much more of Chester Pink, so stay tuned and see you guys next time.
Long live
Peace.
Skroove.
Long live.
I love that.
Peace.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All episodes of What's Your Skroove are available on iTunes. And if you like the show, be sure to rate, subscribe, and leave a comment. As always, there are free stickers on our website, www.skroveco.com. We'll see you guys next time.